Man, there's a mental disease out here. There's a mental disease in this world, and I want you to see, I just want you to see if any of these three things identify with you. Because if they do, you might have a mental dis-ease. Did you know that most dis-ease in the body starts in the mind first? There's a lot of research on epigenetics that correlates cortisol levels to dis-ease. And cortisol is basically the amount of stress in your blood cells. Now, stress can be environmental, it can be chemical, it can be physical, it can be mental, it can be psychological. Stress comes from different ways to the human body, to the human spirit. And for us to live a life free from mental dis-ease, I must know what are my triggers, what are my stress pointers, and how can I alleviate them? How can I alleviate them? Because more times than not, your stress is coming from the focus that you're giving on something, or the focus that you're giving to something, right? There are 3 different pinpoints to mental dis-ease. I can say 10, I can say 15, but I'm gonna just highlight 3. Attention deficit. Now, when you think of attention deficit, you may think of ADHD or some shit like that. But attention deficit is when you struggle with paying attention on one particular topic for like over 5 minutes. I know you experienced this before. You can't cap. You can't lie to me. So let's put it in theory, right? Let's say that you're deciding to exercise for the first day of the year, and it's January 2nd, and you're good for like 2 weeks, right? You got a good little regimen. You even got your personal trainer. Shit, you got you a nutritionist who can help you along the way. Now, with this goal, your brain begins to lose interest because it is not yet a habitual habit. It's transitioning into one over these 14 days, but it's not yet an habitual habit. So what's happening in the brain chemically is that the synaptic connections are trying to connect itself to a new way of being, a new way of doing. And as it's trying to connect to that new identity of exercise, it's going to also try to remind you of things that you used to do outside of exercise. Whatever that might look like, lounging on the couch, playing a video game, whatever, you can fill in the blank, right? It tries to lure you into that atmosphere. Now, the difference here is when you have the intensity and the duration of focus on a task that matters to you, that's productive to you, your brain will thank you in the long run. I'm not going to say it again. When you have I said I'm not going to say it again, and I proceed to say it. When you have the intensity and the duration of focus into a task that's meaningful to you, that's productive and progressive to you, that is when your brain is going to thank you in the long run. Because what you're doing is you're developing brain cells, you're developing brain synaptics in your brain that's progressing you towards a new way of being and a new way of doing. Because just think about it. The more you become, the more you introduce your body to a new thing, the more possibilities of habits it can become. Now, they say this, when you read a book, have you ever read a book and you read it and you don't really resonate with shit that was just said? You can read 10 pages and you lose track of what happened in the prior page because your intensity of focus was not there. Your duration might have been there. You might have been reading it for a consecutive period of time, but your mind was probably all over the place. What I'm going to eat for dinner? What did my partner want to do tomorrow? How's work going to look like next week with this person on PTO? How am I going to get to the gym? How am I going to take my car to the mechanic? All of these different thoughts begin to come to your mind, and the way to remedy those thoughts is to just allow them to be. Don't feed them, don't focus into it. Now, this is a skill. This requires time. Sometimes with thoughts, naturally and habitually, we naturally tend to feed them and focus on them and make them become more progressively real. But the goal is to not align with those thoughts and just observe them for what they are. Now, that's going to take practice. I'm letting you know now, but that's the key when it comes to attention deficit. more times than not, is mostly associated with, like, I know I found myself maybe on TikTok or social media more times than not, and I found myself browsing it like for 2 hours, because it's like every topic is a new topic, and every topic is like a fun topic or a comical topic, and I tend to entertain myself, sometimes informing myself with the different information on social media. But more times than not, it's really a distraction of the day, because there's a time to play with it and there's a time to put it down. And sometimes putting it down, it'd be my little downfall. But I recognize that I bring conscious awareness to that, so that anytime I catch myself in the moment, I quickly put the phone down when I get up and I move. You feel me? Secondly, no self-imposed boundaries. Listen, you know what boundaries are. Boundaries are those things with other people that you kind of lay down so they won't cross them. If they cross them, we can't be cool no more because you don't respect me. That's the definition for some people. Self-imposed boundaries is basically the mindset of, I'm not going to touch my phone today until 11 a.m. Oh, what are you going to be doing before 11? I'm going to be doing something outside of my phone. I'm not going to touch my phone after 8 p.m. Oh, what are you going to be doing? I'm going to be doing something else productive outside of my phone. Until I exercise today, I'm not going to pick up my phone. I'm not going to turn on the TV. Self-imposed boundaries are pretty much rules that you place upon yourself to improve your quality of life. We live in a world where choices are unlimited, right? And when choices become too free to us, it become like, not toxic, but damn near. Like, it becomes a limiting perception when you have no boundaries of how you maneuver. If you just go through the week, go through the day, and just do things without a plan, without a sense of direction, that can really be a downfall in a sense, because you don't really have any concrete boundaries on who you want to show up as, right? So self-imposed boundaries are basically asking yourself, who do I want to be today? How do I want to show up? Do I want to have a plan? Do I want to eat healthy? Do I want to socialize? Do I want to take my dog to the dog park? Do I want to look presentable and go get a haircut? Do I want to prioritize my skin? Do I want to detox my body from these chemicals so I can perform better and think more clearly? Self-imposing boundaries. Rules for yourself. Am I playing the game too much? Too many hours a day? Am I watching TV for too long? Am I not exercising too much? Or too, yeah. Right? So self-imposing boundaries are those things that we place on ourselves. And a lot of people don't have these. That's why they're in the same person. They're the same person they are the year before. It's because they do whatever they want, whenever they want, without healthy boundaries on themselves. The fuck? Yourself. Like, out of all people, yourself. It's better than somebody else telling you what to do. So it's better if you hold yourself accountable. It's really like being your own accountability person, for real, for real. And the last thing that contributes to mental disease is no drive in your life. No drive, like driving a car. Some people, they have no sense of drive, right? No real reason of why they want to be who they want to be, right? No real effort into moving the needle in their life. I'm talking about mentally, I'm talking about spiritually, I'm talking about physically. They don't give a damn of what's going on. I find it interesting how most people who have a strong physique in the gym, how they can develop a regimen, develop a plan in a mental mind state for them to accomplish a strong body, but their mental is weak. You can use the same recipe that you use in the gym into a vision to make more money. Really, literally. Like, you'll be surprised. There are a lot of people out here who don't have no type of physique, but they have a successful business. And then there are people out here who have no type of business, no type of financial security, but they have a strong physique. Now, the dynamic there is simply each individual used a different formula, and they used it over and over and over again. They used repetition to get to where they wanted to get to. They used the same recipe or a similar formula, but they don't multiply it in in both areas of goals, like their physical goal and their financial and mental goal. Because finances and mental, they're gonna connect to each other. Like they're gonna, you feel me? They're two in the same in a sense. So those are some ideas to ponder on when it comes to mental disease. If any of those resonated with you, you just might have a mental disease, you know? Now, I'm sure there are other contributing factors to someone who has a mental disease, or who's not thinking coherently, who's not in a process of alignment, who doesn't have a healthy array or expression of emotions. I'm sure there's other things, but for the sake of this video, those are 3 facets, 3 aspects that contribute to mental disease. I hope you gained something from this video. Yo, until next time.